coming at you with my review of the 1971 film classic Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I don't know how anybody could possibly say that they dislike this film. I think it was just masterfully made and is definitely the version of this story that I will always hold dear to my heart. I have read the book as a kid, but even still, this is the version that is always the one I have the affection for, even beyond the book, which is something people don't really say, but in this case I think that's entirely true, and I think that really comes down to one element: Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka. I mean, the guy just knocks it right out of the park. I mean, I feel like he must have been born to play this role, and don't get me wrong, I love him in lots of other movies, Young Frankenstein. I mean, there's plenty of flicks he was in that were fantastic, and he was the key part of Blazing Saddles. I mean, I could just keep going and going, but I love him as Willy Wonka, and to me, when I think of Gene Wilder, I think of Willy Wonka. I mean, he plays the character with such abandon and such panache, and I love how there's this this joyful feeling to him, and then this just mischievous feeling to him, and then almost like unsettling in parts, and you can really draw what you want out of the character. I know a lot of people see him as being kind of evil and like this murderer, and I know most of them say that in like a comedic way, but you can definitely see how somebody could draw that conclusion by the way the character is portrayed and written in this movie, and I think that it was absolutely outstanding. I will say though, as much as I love this movie, there are elements of it that I'm not that big a fan of. Like, Charlie Bucket, I just thought is just super bland throughout the entire movie. There's one sequence where he's doing like the song and dance that is okay, but for the most part, I just don't really care for him whatsoever. And I don't know. To me, he's milquetoast. Like, he's a blank piece of paper. You can just draw whatever you want on him. He doesn't seem to have any real personality or anything. And you know, the funny thing is as much as I think that that's kind of crappy because he's the main character essentially, it also kind of works because I feel like he's just there as an audience for Willy Wonka, and that's why to me the weakest part of this film is the part leading up to them getting to the factory, because you are introduced to some compelling characters, but there's also a lot of extended sequences that I feel are pretty bland, because Charlie, I feel, is a pretty bland character. And you have Grandpa Joe, who, you know, I mean, it's an interesting character. He's kind of a jerk, really. I mean, they set it up that he's in bed because he's this invalid and has the family member basically taking care of him hand and foot, and then all of a sudden he gets some good news and he's up and dancing. And I know it's supposed to be like that his joy pushed him past the disease or whatever it is that was supposed to have put him there in the first place, but at the same time it kind of feels like he may have been able to do that throughout. He was just enjoying having somebody, you know, do whatever he wants. And then the whole sequence where he convinces Charlie to take the drink of the burping juice or whatever it's called, I mean, that whole thing, you know, I will say I think the guy who plays him is pretty good, and actually even probably better than pretty good. I find him to be quite entertaining, and I think the character is written in an interesting way, but it's just funny that he's such a kind of bastard, really. And then you have the entire just kind of the crew that are on the tour with them. I mean, like, you have like Veruca Salt, Augustus Gloop, Mike TV, and I'm trying to like, I don't know what it is, Violet Beauregard, that's it. And I gotta say, personally, my favorite of the group is always gonna be Mike TV. I just feel like he's the most entertaining, and it's interesting because these characters are mostly written in a way that you're supposed to be annoyed by them, and they're supposed to have these like really blatant negative traits, and as a result, in certain sequences the characters are a little bit annoying. But I will say, I think all the actors who were tapped to play this, and these youngsters, did a fantastic job, far better than the character who played Charlie in my personal view. But I really enjoy them, and it's really great seeing like all the moments where they get dispatched from the tour. I think all that is really interesting, and how they have each have their interesting way of being taken out that plays upon their personality traits, I think is really interesting. And then of course the element of this movie that I would be remiss if I didn't bring up are the Oompa Loompas. I mean, their song and dances are just absolutely fantastic and stick with you forever. I mean, I guarantee you, I could probably walk down any number of street, and if I said Oompa, there might be somebody who says Loompa. I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously they'd probably all be looking at me like I'm a maniac, and there's a distinct possibility that nobody would say it. But at the very least, I figure a few people might think it. So I think that's a testament, that made-up scenario that I just said is a testament to how compelling those characters are and how great they are. And you know, they're basically very little to do with the plot, other than the fact that they go and they're clearly his workers and they teach his morals or whatever. But it's funny how they're this major part of the movie that everybody thinks back on, but really they're just kind of a means to an end. They're a storytelling contrivance, really, which it's funny because you could almost accuse them of being kind of a lazy concept, but they're so awesome in their role and so fun to watch that thought just never occurs to you. So those are my thoughts on Willy Wonka. I'm a big fan of this movie. I think it's very entertaining, and one that I definitely look forward to showing my daughter one day, and one that I've seen multiple times myself. Back in the day when I had cable, if I was flipping through the channels and it was on, I always felt compelled to sit and watch for at least a little while, which I think it just really goes to show you how much the movie means to me and how much I think it means to a lot of people. So those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. If you're a fan, if you don't like it, if you somehow like the Johnny Depp version better, anything other than that, please hit that like button, hit that share button. It makes it much more likely that other people will come check this video, which is something I absolutely love because I love talking films with people. And speaking of which, if you're new here or you just haven't done it yet, please hit that the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way you can come hear my thoughts and let me know what you think. Otherwise, apparently I can't speak very well. Other than that, have yourself a good day.